Today I want to share a little bit about myself, about the last 4 years of my life and what led me to be here today in front of a camera and discussing personal development, productivity, and how to live our best life. I hope this serves not only for you to get to know me a little better and understand how you can benefit from the content that I will be creating, but also to inspire you to not settle or conform to being less than what you are capable of being, which, as we'll see, that's a very good recipe for an unhappy life. So let me take you back to 2020. I was 18 years old at the time and I was finishing high school via Zoom after a very strange year with a lot of free time by myself. Here in Argentina, we had the longest quarantine in the whole world and we were locked up practically the entire year. Now, although I wasn't very clear about what specifically I wanted to study in university, I was always certain that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Not because I wanted to be a millionaire or anything like that, but simply because whenever I looked around, I saw stress, I saw lack of meaning in life, and I saw people very far from living their ideal lifestyle. And from a very early age, I realized that the only way I had a chance at something different in my life was by having greater freedom and autonomy to do the opposite of what most people were doing. I wanted to have options and for the responsibility to be mine. So I decided to study economics to nourish myself with tools to become a better entrepreneur and have success in the business I undertake and so on. And in fact, I had already started university before finishing high school, obviously via Zoom again. However, after a year and a half of my degree, I realized that I wasn't going to find there what I was looking for, and that I would find the answer more in books and courses and even YouTube videos than in the classes that I was taking. Since I was 16 years old, I had already started reading my first personal development books, and I always valued practical learning above all else. And I remember doing a 30-day experiment in which I dedicated the time I was using to study subjects for university and so on to read business books and productivity books and personal development books and so on. And in that month, I felt I learned more than in the entire year and a half that I had been in my degree. Besides, and this came from the number of books I had read in the past, I realized the impact these teachings had on my way of thinking and seeing things, on my energy, on my productivity, and on my happiness. And that's when I made the decision, which obviously wasn't easy at that time, to dedicate 100% of my time to this, to acquire wisdom and tools to live my best life, and then figure out how to help others do the same and how to make a living by doing this. So for the first year and a half, I focused mainly on health optimization. I got certified as an integrative nutrition health coach, among other authors and doctors. I went really deep into that whole world and I began to experience changes in my energy, in my mental clarity, and that whole process showed me that with simple practices, we can literally change our lives. And these are things that they are not teaching us in school or university, but we have the responsibility to learn for ourselves. We are not going to stay curled up in a victim mode and not take any sort of action. The information is out there and it is our responsibility to apply that in our life. All of these also encouraged me to study very deeply how to generate positive change in the lives of others, which led me to the world of coaching and content creation in the background of this whole process. Now, as I began to master my energy and health, my focus shifted to productivity for two main reasons. First, to manage to stay consistent and focused on what was really important. Since I didn't have a boss, for example, to tell me what I had to do, or a teacher to tell me what I had to study for the exam that I had on a specific date, it only depended on me to get up every day and study and work with ideas and do what was most important without giving in to distractions, which was obviously a great challenge. I had to nourish myself with different tools to realize what was the exam that I had to study for and what were the contents that I needed to study. And the second reason I got into productivity was that when I decided to leave university, I always had this internal feeling that I automatically started a race between path A and path B. I remember telling myself, well, I have 5 years to go much further than I could have gone if I had continued in university and followed the traditional path. I wanted to learn much more in order to feel that sense of, tranquility with the decision that I made. That suddenly gave me the feeling of urgency. and that got me more and more into the world of productivity and cognitive performance and all of that stuff. It was also a period, obviously, in which there was a lot of self-doubt and fear of betting on something different and taking a different path. It was a blessing because it led me to study about how to deal with emotions and how to overcome and grow from challenges. And that's when I got really into Stoicism as a life philosophy. And I also met Brian Johnson at the time, who has been my greatest mentor since then in the world of coaching and personal development. And he was the one who taught me how to develop the mental toughness I needed to turn adversity into growth. I finally understood that all of my interests were connected in mastering the mind and realizing our full potential. And a few months ago, I got more and more into the world of cognitive performance and the neuroscience behind the flow state, that state of maximum absorption in which all the cognitive resources we have available are dedicated to the task in front of us. Time passes either slowly or quickly, but you are completely abstracted from everything. And we have studies that show that productivity increases by 500%, creativity by 490%, and learning by 430%. And we have all of this power within us, and that always blew my mind. And what was it that this whole path made me understand? Well, as Shidu Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And he's obviously not referring only to physical health, but to our ability to concentrate, to think clearly, to be productive, to master our emotions, and live in a state of peace without a mountain of stress and anxiety on top of us. And I guess ultimately it's about designing the life we want to live and doing what we have to do to live it. So all of this brings me to you and me here today, and the purpose of my work, which is to share with you what I've learned in the past and what I've been learning, and what I've learned in the past and what I'll be learning as I create this content, to share with you the most valuable lessons of all of that and help you become what I call a cognitive athlete, someone who manages to master their mental energy, who manages their focus on what they are doing, who dominates their focus, and who is able to focus on what they are doing for as long as they want to and whenever they want to, and who has the productivity and life design systems in place to accomplish everything you set out to do. Life taught me that what Abraham Maslow warned us is very, very true. He's the founder of the Human Potential Movement and the creator of Maslow hierarchy of needs, and he tells us that whenever we choose to be less than who we are capable of being, we will be deeply unhappy, and perhaps we don't realize where that lack of happiness and motivation is coming from, but he warns us that it's due to a lack of connection between us and the best version of ourselves that we can aspire to be. The message behind all of this is that we have the power to live our best life, but that requires a total commitment to our personal development, and we cannot settle for following the conventional path if that takes us away from our maximum potential. Of course, that maybe is the path you have to follow, but only if it aligns with paths you need to take to realize your full potential and to awaken the power that you have within. So thank you so much for your time and attention, and I hope you commit to this path towards your personal evolution and to see you regularly around here.